Okay, for today's video we'll continue our review of Algebra 1 material. Today we're going to be looking at solving basic equations, stuff you did a lot in Algebra 1. So hopefully by the end of the review you'll remember how to solve basic equations by isolating specific variables. So if you have a lot of different letters or symbols in your equation, you'll be able to get the one you want by itself. And how to solve some basic word problems using equations. I have an example, kind of a difficult one here in the notes, so we'll get to that when we get to that. So first, let me start up my little program here. Should have this ready to go ahead of time. Oops. Okay, so now I have a very basic equation. First thing we should notice is that we have a variable on both sides. We need to get them on both. We need to get the variable on one side. I usually like going to the left, especially since the smaller number is here on the right anyway. So I'm going to subtract the 8y from both sides. What it does is it cancels it out on the right, leaving just the negative 47. The 48 is not altered in any way. 13y minus 8y is 5y. Now I need to subtract the 48 to the other side. 5y equals negative 95. Now it's 5 times y. I need to divide the 5 both sides to get y by itself. Those 5's just cancel out. That's how y is by itself. Negative 95 divided by 5 is negative 19. Use a calculator if you need to. And if I needed to check that, I could take this, plug that into the original equation, and it'll come out. Next page. Exact same thing. I'm going to subtract 2x. I'm going to do this all in one step. I'm going to subtract the 3 from both sides also. 7x minus 2x is 5x. 3 minus 3 cancels. 2x minus 2x cancels. Negative 12 minus 3 is negative 15. Do not forget about that negative. It's a very common mistake for people to say 12 minus 3 is 9. Forget about that negative. So don't do that. And again, just like the last problem, divide by 5. There it is. Once you get more comfortable doing these, you don't need to write this step. You've solved enough of these. I've seen enough of these be solved. Once you get to this part, you can just skip straight from line 1 to line 2. We'll know what's happening. Third example, a little more complicated. Parentheses, all that stuff. You should recognize this as the distributive property. So 4 times m and 4 times 9. Negative 3 times m, negative 3 times negative 4. Don't forget about that negative. Now it's just like the last couple problems. I'm going to add the 3m to the other side. I'm going to subtract the 30, oops. Subtract the 36. 4m plus 3m is 7m. 36 minus 36 cancels. 3m's cancel. 12 minus 36 is negative 24. I'll divide the 7. 7 does not go into 24 evenly or at all nicely. It comes out to be a very ugly fraction or decimal. So I'm just going to leave it as that fraction. It's already reduced, so I'll just leave it there. One thing to notice about how I'm doing these. Look at how nice and neat I have this done. My equal signs are lined up from top to bottom. This way I can tell my left side from my right side all the way through the problem. I can see easily what I'm doing to one side to the other. It just keeps everything nice so I don't make mistakes, don't lose myself. And when someone doesn't follows it, it keeps it nice and easier to follow than if I had the equal signs all out of alignment. So when you're doing your work, keep those equal signs lined up. Okay, when I stated earlier how we were going to isolate for specific variables, here's what I'm talking about. We have an x, an a, and a b in this equation. The directions wants to solve for x. So it's telling us to get x by itself. A lot of people freak out on these thinking they're extra difficult because there's not as many numbers, but it's the exact same steps we were just doing. First x is divided by a, then 8 is being added to it. If these were all numbers, what would the first thing you would take care of? Well, you'd subtract the 8 to the other side. So those cancel. We still have x divided by a. The only difference is you can't simplify b minus 8, so you just have to leave it as b minus 8. Alright, x divided by a. You have to multiply a to both sides. X equals a times b minus 8. But something to pay attention to. Are you multiplying a times just the b or times that whole side? Well, if you remember from all the times we went over it in Algebra 1, examples we've been doing here, you're adding it, or you're multiplying in this case to the, you're multiplying it in this case to the entire side. So you need some parentheses here. A times all of that. And there it is. X is by itself. I have another example of that here. There's also the second part of the directions. We'll get to that in a minute. First, let's solve for x. So I need to add the 7 in this case. Ax equals b plus 7. Again, you can't simplify that, so you just have to leave it. In this case, or in this problem, a is being multiplied to x instead of divided. So you need to divide by a. And just like last time, you're dividing a from the entire side. So you get b plus 7 all divided by a. Or that quantity divided by a. This restriction part up here at the top. The restriction is there's a value or maybe multiple values of the variable which might not work out. Well, look at this last step from here to here. We divided by a. What number can you never divide by? Think back to your grade school math. You can never, cannot divide by 0. And this is something that comes back into play a lot this year. You have to remember you can never divide by 0. So what we're going to do here is just say a cannot be 0. X will always be b plus 7, that quantity divided by a, as long as a isn't 0, because you can't divide by 0. That's all the restriction is. It's telling you what value you can will prevent you from getting an answer. Alright, okay, this word problem, the sides of a quadrilateral are in the ratio 1 to 2 to 3 to 6. Perimeter is 1 to 38 centimeters. Find the lengths of each side. Okay. In the ratio of 1 to 2 to 3 to 6. That means there's some number out there. We don't know what it is, so we use an x. The first side is that number, x. The second side is twice that. The third side is 3 times that length. And the fourth side is 6 times that. So we have an x The second side is 2x, the third side is 3x, and the last side is 6x. What else do we know about those four sides? Well, perimeter is 138. You just did geometry last year. What is perimeter? It's the length of all the sides added together. So if we add these together, we get 138. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 6 is 12x equals 138. 138 divided by 12 is 23 halves, which is 11 and a half. Now, a lot of people would be tempted to circle that as their answer and be done. But that is not what the question asks for. The question wants to know the lengths of all the sides. So 1x is 11.5 centimeters. The 2x side is 23 centimeters. The 3x side is 34.5 centimeters. And the 6x side is 69 centimeters. Those are the lengths of the sides. Okay, so in summary, basic techniques we've been practicing, or reviewing rather, you already knew them. Simplify both sides of the equation first, if you can. Second, get your variable onto one side. Usually, addition or subtraction of a term takes care of it. Third, we didn't discuss this too much, but what you're doing is using reverse order of operations. If you're multiplying by 2 and then adding 3, you're going to subtract the 3, then divide by 2. You reversed your order of operations. And that isolates your variable, and that works even if there are lots of variables in there and you're just trying to get one by itself. Same techniques work, you just have to pay attention to what you're doing. Keep your paper neat, keep your equal signs lined up so that way you can easily tell what's going on, and that'll be that. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and give you the assignments, that way if you have your books with you, you can go ahead and get started on that for tomorrow. If not, no big deal, we'll work on that in class. But there it is, page 21, 2 through 34 even. It's only 17 problems. And I'll see you in class tomorrow. Thanks.